Why are my cat's whiskers curling? Whiskers are not just for looking adorable, they also serve a functional purpose. Cats use their whiskers as a sort of built-in navigation system to help them navigate in the dark and detect small gaps or narrow spaces that may be too small for the rest of their body to fit. In addition, some experts have theorized that whiskers may even have secondary functions like helping cats find and eat prey more effectively by detecting vibrations made by smaller animals, although more research is needed on this front. However, not all cats have the same type of whiskers, and if your cat's whiskers are curling instead of staying straight up in response to stimuli like they should, there could be something else going on. Is it normal for cats to have curly whiskers? It is normal for cats to have curly whiskers, but you should be aware that some breeds of cats can have long, extra curly whiskers. If this is the case, you may need to groom your cat regularly to keep the whiskers under control. Another common cause of curved whiskers is hypothyroidism in cats. Longer and more curly whiskers are often a sign of this condition. If you see your cat's whiskers curving out from the sides or from the middle in the wrong places, get them checked out by your veterinarian. This could be a sign of something serious like polycystic kidney disease, PKD. If all other health-related causes have been ruled out and your cat's whiskers still curve out of place, you may need to trim them. A plastic comb will work well for this job. Genetics and diet may cause curly whiskers. When your cat has curly whiskers, it is not necessarily a sign that something is wrong. In fact, it is quite common for cats to have curls in their fur. Unlike humans who have straight hair, cats have naturally wavy fur that curves when they grow. Curly whiskers are usually simply the result of your cat's naturally curly hair. The only reason you might notice them more is if your cat has a lot of facial furs and you can see the individual strands distinctly. There are several factors that can cause your cat to have curlier whiskers, including genetics and diet. Genetics play a huge role in whether or not your cat's fur will curl. If one of your cat's parents has curl-prone fur, it is more likely that your kitty will have it too. Another factor that can play a role in curly whiskers is diet. If your kitty eats dry food frequently, he may end up with less oil on his skin, which can make his fur more prone to curling. While curly whiskers are not necessarily a bad thing, there are some things you should keep in mind when dealing with them. For example, if you notice that your kitty's whiskers are curlier than usual, try not to rub them against things because this can damage the hair follicles and make them even harder to manage later on down the road. Why are my cat's whiskers curved? There is a plethora of potential reasons that can lead to your cat's whiskers being curly. Cats have curly whiskers, which are a result of their rough and unruly nature. It's no wonder that they're so popular with cat owners. They can be a source of irritation if they're not groomed properly. There are several reasons why cats have curly whiskers. 1. They're a result of their rough and unruly nature. 2. They're caused by their fur being clipped too frequently. 3. They're caused by the harsh environment in which they live. 4. They're caused by the way they're groomed. 5. They're caused by their diet, which includes food that contains trace amounts of chemicals that cause hair to grow in abnormal patterns. Does my cat's diet affect the curviness of its whiskers? A cat's curly whiskers can be a result of the cat's diet. Cats eat a wide variety of foods, including nuts, seeds, and fruits. Their diet is varied to accommodate their growth rate and weight. Some cats grow quickly, while others slow down. Cats that grow quickly are often referred to as bulky cats. Bulky cats tend to be larger than average-sized cats, and they may have curly whiskers. Some larger cats also have longer hair than average-sized cats, so they may also have curly whiskers. Some types of cats have curly whiskers because they eat more nuts or seeds than other types of cats. Other types of cats may have curly whiskers because they eat more fruits or vegetables than other types of cats. Some breeds of dogs also have curly whiskers because they eat large amounts of nuts or seeds. Other breeds of dogs may have curly whiskers because they eat large amounts of fruit or vegetables. Cats with curly whiskers are not necessarily more likely to be overweight or obese than their average-sized counterparts. they may just be more likely to have curvy tails and short legs because their diet includes more nuts or seeds than average-sized cats do. When should I see a vet for my cat's curly whiskers? Here are 5 major health-related reasons why your cat's usually straight whiskers may be curling. Reason 1. Your cat is feeling fearful or anxious. If your cat's whiskers are curling, it could mean that he or she is feeling fearful or anxious. Cats' whiskers are a part of their fight or flight system, so if your kitty is feeling anxious, his or her whiskers may be curling to prepare for fighting if he or she feels like it's unnecessary. Defensive action. Similarly, if your cat's whiskers are curling because he or she is feeling fearful or anxious, it will be accompanied by other typical signs of fear, including dilated pupils, pacing, hiding in small places, and being very vocal. Reason 2. Your cat is in pain. If your kitty's whiskers are curled, there's a good chance that he or she is in pain. Because the whiskers are connected to your cat's nervous system, they respond to stimuli just like the rest of your kitty's body. This means that if your cat is experiencing pain, the nerves in his or her whiskers will tell your kitty's brain that they are in pain as well. If your cat's whiskers are curled, take him or her to the veterinarian as soon as possible. Your veterinarian will be able to rule out any serious illnesses and treat your kitty's pain appropriately. If your vet rules out any serious illnesses, you'll be able to treat your cat's pain more effectively and help him or her recover from the pain much quicker. Reason 3. Your cat may have an infection. If your cat's whiskers are curling in response to stimuli, it could be due to an underlying infection. There are a number of different infections that may be present in your cat's mouth or around the area where his or her whiskers are and cause his or her whiskers to curl. If your cat's whiskers are curled, take him or her to the veterinarian as soon as possible. Your vet will be able to perform a thorough oral exam and determine if your cat's whiskers are curling because he or she has an infection in his or her mouth. Your veterinarian may be able to treat the infection without having to perform surgery, depending on where the infection is. Reason 4. Your cat has recently given birth. If your cat's whiskers are curled and she's recently given birth, she may be experiencing a condition called wandering kitten syndrome. Cat owners who are familiar with this syndrome may notice that their kitty is disoriented or uncoordinated, especially in tight or small spaces. This is because the mother cat's whiskers are curled because she's trying to fit her kittens through small spaces when they can't fit themselves. If your cat's whiskers are curled, she may be disoriented or uncoordinated, especially in tight or small spaces. If your cat's whiskers are curled, take her to the veterinarian as soon as possible, since this is a serious condition that must be treated immediately. The vet will likely sedate your kitty to treat her and help her recover from wandering kitten syndrome. Reason 5. Your kitty has a growth on his or her face. If your kitty's whiskers are curled, it could mean that he or she has a growth on his or her face. Cats' whiskers grow in a spiral pattern, so if your kitty's whiskers appear to be growing abnormally or bent in a way that they shouldn't be, it's a red flag that there could be a soft tissue growth or tumor in the area. If your kitty's whiskers are growing abnormally or bent in a way that they shouldn't be, it's a red flag that there could be a soft tissue growth or tumor in the area. If your cat's whiskers are curled and you think that he or she may have a growth on his or her face, take him or her to the veterinarian as soon as possible so that the vet can treat your kitty appropriately. Do curly whiskers ever break off? Yes, much like normal straight whiskers, even the curly whiskers of a cat experience shedding and breakage due to various reasons. From rough play to brawls with neighboring cats, your cat's whiskers may break due to various reasons. Just being curly does not change anything much about the way whiskers tend to respond to stimuli or break or shed. The normal shedding and regrowth of whiskers happen despite the shape of the whiskers. What you can do about curling whiskers. Curling whiskers are often not a reason for concern unless you see associated issues that may cause your cat discomfort or suffering. Despite the fact that seeing physical changes in your cats can be frightening, you should probably leave the cat's whiskers alone if you see that it has a new style but otherwise appears to be going about its business as normal. Your cat's whiskers shouldn't be cut or straightened since doing so might make them less able to perform their normal functions and put them through further pain or suffering. As it may be quite unpleasant for them, You should also avoid pulling off their whiskers. It's better to merely take joy in the adorable new curly whiskers your cat has unless you find a cause to take your cat to the vet. When people say their cat has curly whiskers, they're usually referring to the hair on the cat's face, which often curves as well. It is also possible for a cat to have curly whiskers on its body, but that is much rarer. What causes a cat's whiskers to curl could be one of many things. Some of the most common reasons why your cat's whiskers curl include the cat's diet, the state of its health, and the way it's groomed. If you notice that your cat's whiskers are curling, you should get it checked out by your veterinarian to make sure it's not something more serious.